Hello everyone, happy Friday. It's AMI Day 30 or Friday, May 1st. Today for English and Social Studies, we're continuing our 2020 pandemic journal. So the first thing we're going to do is go see this reading requirement at the bottom of the packet, which is sections 13 and 14 of Article 2. So you're going to scroll down until you see sections 13 and 14. I have them highlighted here in purple, and the first thing we're going to do is read them, and then we will chat about the questions. The flu takes a heavy toll on society. The flu took a heavy human toll, wiping out entire families and leaving countless widows and orphans in its wake. The outbreak was also detrimental to the U.S. economy. Many businesses were forced to shut down because so many employees were sick. Basic services such as mail delivery and garbage collection were affected. And in some places, there weren't enough farm workers to harvest crops. The flu pandemic finally ends. By the summer of 1919, the flu pandemic came to an end. Those people who were infected had either died or developed immunity. Almost 90 years later, in 2008, researchers announced they discovered what made the 1918 flu so deadly. It was a group of 3 genes that enabled the virus to weaken a victim's bronchial tubes and lungs, so that pneumonia easily developed. Since 1918, there have been several other influenza pandemics, although none have been quite as deadly. One pandemic from 1957 to 1958 killed around 2 million people worldwide, including some 70,000 in the United States. Another flu pandemic from 1968 to 1969 killed approximately 1 million people, including some 34,000 Americans. More than 12,000 Americans died during the H1N1 or swine flu pandemic that occurred from 2009 to 2010. After we have read that, we're going to go back up and review your questions for today. And again, as a reminder, these questions you will answer in your Social Studies Google Classroom in a Google form. So read over your journal entries, any notes you have taken. Think of yourself as the main character in a story. Analyze how you and the pandemic have developed and interacted with each other over the course of this journaling experience. Analyze how particular lines of dialogue or incidents in your story propelled action, revealed aspects of yourself as a character, or provoked a decision from someone in your story. After reading the chunk of the article, consider the following question. How is COVID-19 affecting our economy similar to the Spanish flu? The next question, no cure was invented for Spanish flu, yet it eventually came to an end. How was that possible? By now, your Venn diagrams for both the plague and the Spanish flu should be jam-packed with similarities and differences between pandemics of the past and your current experience. And your last task for today is you're going to share your project with family members, friends, and/or social media. So in order to respond to those questions, you'll visit your Social Studies Google Classroom, where you'll find another Google form. As a reminder, you'll fill out your answers here, and then you will send a copy to your English teacher. So you'll start by entering your first and last name, as you've done on every other day so far. And then here are those questions that you're going to respond to in this document. Read your journal entries. Think of yourself as the main character in a story. Analyze how you and the pandemic have developed and interacted with each other over the course of this journaling experience. Analyze how particular lines of dialogue or incidents in your story propelled action, revealed aspects of yourself as a character, or provoked a decision from someone in your story. So basically here, you're just going to think back over these past 2 weeks and think about all of these events and all of these questions you've been answering as if you were a character in a story living through this pandemic. And you're going to just write about how you and the pandemic have developed and how you've interacted with it and what that has meant for you over these past 2 weeks. Here again, you'll see that chunk of the article that we read back in your AMI packet, but it's here again if you need to see it. After reading the chunk of the article, consider the following question. How is COVID-19 affecting our economy similar to the Spanish flu? So your answer might say something like, COVID-19 is similar to the Spanish flu economically in that it blank. So explain what this COVID-19 outbreak is doing to the economy that also happened with the Spanish flu and the economy. You'll type in your answer here. Next question says, no cure was invented for Spanish flu, yet it eventually came to an end. How was that possible? So your answer might say something like, despite not having a cure, Spanish flu still ended because blank. You may have found evidence in the article for that. You might just be thinking in your own head how that's possible, but share your answer there. Here's just a reminder that your Venn diagrams, those two circles that overlap in the middle that have similarities and differences, for both the plague and the Spanish flu should be jam-packed with similarities and differences between pandemics of the past and your current experience. So you might want to go back and look at your answers and jot some of those down actually on a Venn diagram. That way you can share your project with family members, friends, and or social media. And like this question says, you will notice that there are a lot of similarities and a lot of differences between the two. Oh, make sure you answer every question. After you submit your responses, you will get a little reminder here, and it reminds you to send an email with your responses to your English teacher. So your responses are in your email. All you have to do is press forward, type in your English teacher's name, and send it to them through email. Great job with this, guys. Hopefully you learned a lot and noticed a lot of similarities and differences, and have a great weekend.